My name's Rob Krieger, ROBKRUEGER, and my title is I'm an entomology and education support specialist for Pinellas County Mosquito Control.
What can you tell us about mosquito diseases in Pinellas County and in Florida?
Well, the hot topic right now is Zika, and we've had 6 imported cases, travel-related issues with the Zika virus. The response cases, though, that we've had are 29. So what a response case is if anybody is basically getting reported with some sort of symptoms and they've had travel history, we're responding to that as well. So we don't necessarily need to know it's Zika. If you've got something that you think is kind of going wrong and the public health department is concerned and they send us a message, we're immediately dispatched and killing mosquitoes and finding sources of water, eliminating all that and educating the surrounding area of where those cases have gotten to right off the bat. So the neat thing about it is the way mosquito control operates in conjunction with our infrastructure is really going to keep Zika at bay for us overall. In fact, I think it's going to take the perfect storm for Zika to actually kind of contribute to any sort of major virus activity in our area.
So should people be scared about it? Is it dangerous to Floridians?
Well, sure, any virus is dangerous for sure, especially with the case of Zika. There's a lot of concern because it causes birth defects in infant children and stuff like that. So of course there's a concern there. The cool thing is about this particular mosquito is we've been dealing with this particular mosquito for over 60 years. And so it's a container breeding mosquito. We know where it lives, we know what it likes, we know what it likes to do. And so if we can get everybody on board and do something simple as draining containers around their home, emptying water sources, picking up trash, anything that can hold water, every week or so, breaking that life cycle, we should really have very, very few of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes in the population of our neighborhoods to where we're going to drastically reduce our chances for collecting the virus. So,
and you mentioned a moment ago that you feel very confident that there won't be a big outbreak because of the efforts you're doing. Describe those efforts.
So, and what I'm about to say here may not be the opinions of Pinellas County, but they're definitely mine. And the reason why I can say that is we've had several types of transmittable diseases come here before. Chikungunya, dengue fever, they have all been here at some form or fashion in the past, and we've been able to control those just fine. In fact, there's not even any media coverage of those anymore, and both those diseases are fatal. We still routinely get those one or two a month or something like that, but we're instantly dispatched when any type of case like that comes on. And how that works is our public health department will let us know that, hey, we've got somebody that's symptomatic, they've got perfect travel history, they've got this, they give us some details. They give us kind of a epicenter of where this virus might be taking hold. And so what we do is immediately we're out there within hours of that call, killing mosquitoes, dumping containers, educating the public. Whoever we can run into, we're telling them why we're there, what we're doing, and hopefully they can help us too. The reason why that's important is a lot of times getting access to private property is difficult. So that's why this educational push is there to get out there and drain containers and stuff like that. But as far as how that works in our immediate response and our surveillance that we put in effect, that lasts for 2 to 3 weeks afterwards, just basically looking for these particular mosquitoes that may be controlling virus, our operation just in itself, I think, is enough to give me the confidence that we're going to have a hard time getting that virus into mosquitoes here. The other thing is our infrastructure throughout just about the entire county is a lot different than some of these other areas that are actually at an epidemic or an emergency state. And so, for example, in Brazil, there's literally people living on top of people. There's no screens, no air conditioning. These folks save their rainwater in open containers for drinking purposes, bathing. And we just quite simply don't do that here in Pinellas County. So are we going to have huge issues? The only issues that I see are that the few seconds that you're out there getting the mail, you want to do some gardening, maybe you're going to barbecue and all that kind of stuff. And if you do, be responsible about it. Try to drain your yard, wear repellents, do some of the exclusion devices to keep yourself protected when you're out there.
How would someone recognize the mosquito that causes Zika?
Usually it has a little leer shape on the back of it, or wire shape on the back of the mosquito's thorax. It's kind of difficult to see. So usually what we tell folks is if you're getting bitten below the knee or around the ankles and you're in a pair of flip-flops, that typically lets us know right away that that's the Zika mosquito or the Aedes aegypti mosquito. And so if that's the case, and you're getting bit there, and you can't find any sources of water that you think are contributing to the problem, feel free to give us a call, look at us on our website, participate in that C-Click Fix app, and we'll find somebody to get out there within 24 hours or less and fix the problem for you.
We recently had a lot of rain with the tropical storm. Did that lead to an uptick in this type of mosquito?
Not necessarily. We regularly get rain here. In fact, the majority of that rain went to our ditches and swampy areas and that kind of stuff. And so those broad areas were already taken care of a lot of times anyway. So to be perfectly honest with you, yes, it's a little bit more work for us to get out there and do the project that we need to do as far as eliminating these mosquitoes from these large sources. But as far as the neighborhood goes, we really can only get there if we have access to the property. So we can say, hey, it just rained, guys. Let's go out and take a look and make sure that we can get containers dumped and stuff like that. But that part of it's difficult. So that's why having the citizens participate is great. In fact, one of the neat things that I saw this year is the first time I've seen this happen. Is we had all that hurricane weather kind of coming through, and on the bottom of the ticker tape screen on the TV news, it was saying, hey, we've had a significant rain event. Please check your yards and drain containers. I thought that was excellent. So the word's getting out there.
So besides draining water, the county also sprays chemicals.
We do.
What are the names of the chemicals that you're spraying?
Well, some of the products that we like to use are usually what we call larvicides. The larvicides are a huge group of products that we use to target the mosquitoes in their infancy. So their weakness is in that larval state. If we can get them there and be proactive enough to get them in the larval state before they hatch off into adults where they can bite people, that's how we know we're doing a really good job. If they do happen to hatch off, then we start using products that are called adulticides. They're not quite as effective as you can think, because you think about the space in this room, for example. They could be flying all over the place, whereas the larva could be concentrated to one little small area. We could do something as simple as dump that larva water out, or come through there with this whole massive equipment and do our fogging and stuff like that and fix the problem eventually. But it's best to eliminate it at the source, and that's why we kind of consider ourselves a proactive county. We're out there every time there's a rain event. If there's a new rain event, if there's an excess of water, all that kind of stuff, we're out there making sure we get the job done.
I'm going to stay on the larvicides and the adulticides for a second. Besides mosquitoes, what other organisms do those harm?
So one of our preferred products is called BTI. It's a bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. This product is really kind of environmentally friendly in a lot of ways. One, it only really affects the mosquito. We've done a lot of testing too to see if there's any kind of by-kill or sensitive creatures that are out there that may also have some problems with that. And really the only thing that we found is in some ecosystems, with the lack of mosquito larvae as a food source, some other animals don't exist. However, that's the kind of give and take that you got to kind of have. Now, is this product killing off animals directly? No. It's through that food chain link that we see some particular times where there's a drop in other animal populations, but it's really insignificant in the big picture.
Would that be like small fish and things like that?
Sometimes, yeah. So basically what the mosquito larva it does in the ecology anyways is it packages up all the little filter-fed algae that it picks up through the environment. And so by packaging it, what I mean is it's building its larval body. Once that larval body gets eaten by another organism, that's how the food chain progresses. So there are other organisms out there that do that same process, but some organisms, it seems, prefer mosquitoes or certain types of habits for native natural mosquitoes that are already occurring here. The problem with Aedes aegypti, for example, this is an invasive. So if we can get rid of that, that's totally acceptable for me. The only problem that I can see with that is maybe some of these products that the folks are trying to put out, they're going to try to wipe out a lot of different stuff simply because the education's not there. That's why it's important to leave it up to places like mosquito control. They're established. They know what they have to do to get in there and reduce the source and protect the human population.
And so I asked about other organisms that might be affected. My last question is what are the human health effects of mosquito spraying?
There's not too much known about that as far as longevity of proximity to these products and that kind of thing. In fact, our guys that work here wear some protective measures because they're in close proximity with these products a lot. However, if you read the labels on those, usually a lot of these products, unless they're in high concentricity, rarely will cause any types of prolonged issue at all, unless you're particularly sensitive to the product. We're actually very cognizant of that. So, for example, when we do our adulticide spraying, I guess you could call it fogging, throughout the neighborhoods, if you are one of those types of people that are sensitive, we have a huge list of these folks that are, hey, we just don't want you in our yard and that kind of stuff. we're responsive to that, and we say, hey, that's great, we'll shut it off when we come to your area, and then we'll keep going afterwards. Because we want to work with the people, we still want to be able to do our job, but it's all a delicate balance of keeping the citizens engaged and keeping us engaged as far as getting our job done as well.
All right, thanks so much for your time.
No problem.